Chapter 6. Have you tried the burger?
Oh. No, I haven't.
It was pretty good.
Oh. What did you like about it?
Sometimes when you eat a burger and it reminds you like a summer day. Well, okay, I'm just saying. I had the burger in the back room and it was so good. It was like a werewolf was eating it. And it was really delicious. I just think they outdid themselves, honestly. Oh, Threaten B, hello. Excellent to see you. Well, shall we begin?
Yes. Yes, we should.
Let's see. On our last episode, we read...
Oh, please.
Thank you. On our last episode, we read chapters 1 through 6 of R.L. Stine's beloved novel, Say Cheese and Die.
Say Cheese and Die.
And in that episode, we learned a few things about several of our new friends in Pittsville.
Michael.
Doug.
Sherry.
And Bird, who were so bored that they decided to break into an abandoned building.
And they stole a
person who did not have a home, their camera.
Yes, they stole a homeless person's magic camera. Yes.
And then they were trapped in the basement with this person named Spidey. Indeed. We do love them quite a bit.
They're up there with the Kia boys.
Shall we begin?
Please.
Chapter 6. Now what? Michael whined. Try again, Bird urged Greg. Maybe they're just stuck. He slid out from under Michael's arm. Here, I'll help you. Greg moved over to give Bird room to step up beside him. Ready? He asked. 1, 2, 3, push! Both boys pushed against the heavy wooden doors with all their might, and the doors swung open. Okay, now we're out of here, Sherry declared happily. Picking up the camera, Greg led the way out. The backyard, he saw, was as weed-choked and overgrown as the front. An enormous...
Same. Who said that, Greg? I was saying same to being weed-choked.
An enormous limb had fallen off an old oak tree, probably during a storm. Very astute, or perhaps a tornado.
Yes. Viewers, think about this. What item would you have brought along to maybe make this journey a little easier? Maybe an umbrella?
Maybe a lock-picking kit?
Just think about that.
Something to think about. Somehow, Bird and Sherry managed to drag Michael to the steps and onto the grass. Can you walk? Try it, Bird said. Still leaning against the two of them, Michael reluctantly pushed his foot down on the ground. He lifted it, then pushed it again. Hey, it feels a little better, he said, surprised. Oh yes, I forgot. In this episode, Bird, or perhaps Doug, or perhaps Michael, one of the boys, broke their ankle, or just twisted it.
Yes, it was either broken or twisted. And
it was one of the boys, this is for sure. All right, Bird cried happily as they reached the street. We made it! Gasping for breath, Greg stopped at the curb and turned back toward the house. Look, he cried, pointing up to the living room window. A dark figure stood in the window, hands pressed against the glass. It's Spidey!
Oh. I was gonna ask the viewers if they maybe could kind of figure out who that would be, so... But that's fine.
Ankle injury, he will never go pro now. Yes, as we will recall, thank you, Threaten B, for the reminder that our friends here were trying out for the Fall League baseball team.
A Fall League. Dummy Rat 02. Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Welcome to the Goosing Hour.
He's just staring at us, Michael cried. Weird, Greg said. Let's go. What's weird, I wonder about? I don't know. Staring at the people who stole your only livelihood.
Right. Or just staring at children and like the beauty of children and childhood. I don't see what's wrong with that, especially if they're in your yard.
They didn't stop till they got to Michael's house, a sprawling redwood ranch-style house behind a shady front lawn. Sprawling redwood ranch-style house. It's beautiful. A beautiful image. How's the ankle? Greg asked. It's loosened up a lot. It doesn't even hurt that much, Michael said. Man, you could have been killed! Bird declared, wiping sweat off of his forehead with the sleeve of his t-shirt. Okay, so we're doing that again.
Okay. Audience, practice that at home. Spider is watching as a group of well-off children take his only belonging with any value. That is strange that he would be staring at them for that action.
Agreed. Thanks for reminding me, Michael said dryly. Lucky thing you got all that extra padding, Bird teased. Shut up, Michael muttered. Oh, well, thank you, L.
Thank you, L. Your name is the same color
Dino. Aldino.
as the border of the screen.
Excellent, thank you.
Yay, Dino, thank you. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Lucky thing you got all that extra padding, Bird teased. Fat phobia, again from Mr. Stein. It is a little disappointing.
Oh, that's
But
right.
as of the time, it was okay to fat shame in 2003 when this was written.
Is that really when this came out? Yes. Hi. Thank you, Dino.
Well, you guys wanted adventure, Sherry said, leaning back against the trunk of a tree. That guy Spidey is definitely weird, Bird said, shaking his head. You see the way he was staring at us, Michael asked, all dressed in black and everything? He looked like some kind of zombie or something.
Wow.
Interesting. I don't think I would think that zombies were
just wearing all black clothes.
Yes, but
I really wouldn't either.
I suppose if Spidey was turned into a zombie, then the zombie would be dressed in all black.
That's
because
true.
It would have been
He looks like Spidey if he was a zombie.
If Spidey was a zombie,
he would just look like normal Spidey.
Yeah. Okay, well now we know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He saw us. You know. Oh wait, hold on. He saw us, Greg said softly, suddenly feeling a chill of dread. Zombies would be goth, I guess. Yeah, very true.
Very true.
An interesting thing to think about.
Over time, the
Mr.
fabric
Stein understanding that at the time when this book was written, goth culture was so prevalent, everyone would have been wearing black.
You're right.
Oh,
everyone.
So if it was a zombie, it would have been all in black.
Would have been caught dead dressed as a goth at the time. That was normal.
I'm sorry I doubted him.
Mm-hmm.
He saw us very clearly. We'd better stay away from there. What for? Michael demanded. It isn't his house. He's just sleeping there. We could call the police on him.
Wow, Michael cannot hang. Okay, we are not hanging out with Michael again. This is outrageous. Go on.
But if he's really crazy or something, there's no telling what he might do, Greg replied thoughtfully. He's not gonna do anything, Sherry said quietly. Spidey doesn't want trouble. He just wants to be left alone. He just wants
flies to be left alone.
Michael says my cop is an uncle and I really like him. He's not gonna do anything. Yeah, Michael agreed quickly. He didn't want us messing with his stuff. That's why he yelled like that and came after us.
Michael hates
I would agree. That is some logic I'm seeing.
I would agree.
Okay. Michael was leaning over, rubbing his ankle. Hey, where's my picture? He demanded, straightening up and turning to Greg.
That's a great question. Where is his picture?
Huh. You know, the picture you snapped. With the camera. Oh, right. Greg suddenly realized he still had the camera gripped tightly in his hand. He set it down carefully on the grass and not into... Okay, yeah.
That's a good
And reached into his back pocket. I put it in here when we started to run. That's really thoughtful of him.
He put the camera in his pants?
No, he put the picture in his pants.
Oh, okay.
Well, did it come out? Michael demanded. The three of them huddled around Greg to get a view of the snapshot. Whoa! Hold on a minute, Greg cried, staring hard at the small square photo. Something's wrong. What's going on here?
We already read this chapter. We read this chapter last time.
And that was the end of the recap. Chapter 7.
Wow. He's so thoughtful with other people's belongings.
That's very true.
The four friends gaped at the photograph in Greg's hand, their mouths dropping open in surprise. The camera had caught Michael in mid-air as he fell through the broken railing to the floor. "That's impossible," Sherry cried. "You snapped the picture before I fell," Michael declared, grabbing the photo out of Greg's hand so that he could study it close up. "I remember it."
Thank you, Threatenby.
What is that? Is that Greg? "You remembered wrong," Bird said, moving to get another look at it over Michael's shoulder. "You were falling, man. What a great action shot." He picked up the...
I think this is a really good opportunity for the viewers to participate. If you were in this situation and you believed that the picture had happened before, would you allow yourself to be gaslit or would you stay true to yourselves?
Yes. What do you think the picture is of, unless I already read that?
Me watching Michael fall off a banister after he calls.
Yeah, truly. Oh, okay. All right. I think those answers are both viable.
I'm vulnerable and easy to gaslight. Threatenby, you speak truth. And it's really brave of you to admit that on here. And that's what the Goosing Hour is all about. It's all for speaking out, finding your truth, and finding a community that understands.
"I didn't steal it," Greg started. "I mean, I didn't realize I wasn't falling," Michael insisted. Wow, these people are me. Tilting the picture in his hand, studying it from every angle. "I was posing, remember? I had a big goofy smile on my face and I was posing." "I remember the goofy smile," Bird said.
What is a I'm sorry, can we get a goofy smile? I was just trying to would it be like... Because it's smile, you know, you can try along at home, everyone.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember the goofy smile, Bird said, handing the camera back to Greg. "Do you have any other expression?" "You're not funny, Bird," Michael muttered. I screamed it, I guess. He pocketed the picture. "Weird," Greg said. He glanced at his watch. "Hey, I've got to get going." He said goodbye to the others and headed for home. The afternoon sun...
So, here's a question. Pro Ash, excellent to see you, bestie.
Hello, bestie.
If you had a watch as a child, what kind of watch did you have? I'll go first. I personally
Ben 10
had...
watch.
We'll turn on our listening ears. I'll go first, and I had a blue digital waterproof watch with Dora the Explorer on it. And it had the tiniest little screen. What kind of watch did you have?
I had a watch from McDonald's. Was it like a Sonic one? Oh, it was SpongeBob. Okay. I had a Ben 10 watch, and I could turn into the Ben 10 aliens with it, not in real life, but in my imagination.
And Threatenby had the watch from McDonald's Happy Meal, which I took to mean it was Ronald McDonald's face, but I guess it was SpongeBob's face. So you had a SpongeBob watch, but I guess you can call it whatever you'd like.
The afternoon sun was lowering behind a cluster of palm trees, casting long shifting shadows over the sidewalk so they live at the beach. He had promised his mother he'd straighten up his room and help with the vacuuming before dinner, and now he was late. Was it that strange car in the driveway? He wondered, jogging across the neighbor's lawn towards his house. Oh, thank you. It was a navy blue Taurus station wagon. As long as it's not a Chevy, am I right? Brand new. Dad picked up our new car, he realized. Okay, what the fuck? This is the first time hearing about it. Wow, Greg stopped to admire it. It still had the sticker glued to the door window. He pulled open the driver's door, leaned in, and smelled the vinyl upholstery. That new car smell. He inhaled deeply again. It smelled so good, so fresh and new. He closed the door hard, appreciating the solid clunk it made as it closed. I think they should take care of that. Two big sniffs.
This man appreciates his sensory experiences.
Yeah, this 10-year-old kid walks into his kitchen. He's like, Dad, is this Italian?
Oregano? Fresh? Oh my god.
What a great new car, he thought excitedly. Okay. He raised the camera to his eye and took a few steps back off the driveway. Oh, fuck. I've got to take a picture of this, he thought, to remember what the car was like when it was totally new. That's very
beautiful of him. And very sweet of him.
I don't like that. He backed up until he had framed the entire profile of the station wagon in the viewfinder. Then
He's a car guy and a photographer.
Button. Yeah.
That is a very astute observation. He really has a lot of prospects for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could be annoying in so many ways. Yeah, photographer for cars, or he could drive cars over cameras. As before, the camera clicked loudly. The flash flashed. That is the sentence in the book. And with an electronic whir, a square, undeveloped photo of gray and yellow slid out of the bottom. Wow. Carrying the camera and the slap shot, Greg ran into the house through the front door. I'm home, he called. Down in a minute. And hurried up the carpeted stairs to his room. Greg, is that you? Your father...
Mr. Stein is actually, you'll find, really a master in the art of description, of imagery. It's really, he takes you to whatever destination, and
his words are worth 1,000 pictures.
That shag between my toes as you grip it as you run up the carpet. You kind of grip with your toes so you don't fall.
His world building is crazy. Yeah, Monster Stein.
I know about Monsieur Stein and vivid imagery.
His world building, out of this world. Greg, is that you? Your father is home. His mother called from downstairs. I know, be right down. Sorry I'm late, Greg shouted back. I know, be right down. Sorry I'm late, Greg shouted.
I know, Mom!
I'd better hide the camera, he decided. Okay. If Mom or Dad see it, they'll want to know whose it is and where I got it. Oh, because you fucking stole it? And I won't be able to answer those questions. Greg, did you see the new car? Are you coming down? His mother called impatiently from the foot of the stairs. I'm coming, he yelled. His eyes searched frantically for a good hiding place.
Stole it from old man
Under
Jenkins.
his
Surprise
bed.
guy. Very good to see you.
He did. Good to see you, surprise guy. No, his mom might vacuum under there and discover it. Then Greg remembered the secret compartment in his headboard. Sure, he had discovered the compartment years ago when his parents had brought him a new bedroom set. Quickly, he shoved the camera in. Peering into the mirror above his dresser, he gave his blonde hair a quick brush, rubbed a black soot smudge off his cheek with one hand, I guess he's a chimney sweep, then started for the door. He stopped at the doorway. The snapshot of the car. Where had he put it? It took a few seconds to remember that he had tossed it onto his bed. Curious about how it came out, he turned back to retrieve it.
His name is...
Oh no! Yes, Greg Heisenberg. He uttered a low cry as he gazed at the snapshot. Now, what does everyone think the car will look like in the snapshot? What color maybe will it change to? Maybe he should change it.
Blue.
Blue.
No, wait.
No.
We are on a schedule, Threatenby, actually.
You read out.
Green. Okay.
Okay, green.
Chapter 8.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Greg wondered.
Wow.
He brought the photo up close to his face. This isn't right. He thought. How can this be?
This part is really scary in the movie.
The blue fuchsia.
Does it say the color?
The blue Taurus station wagon. It is actually Pisces season, but
yeah, that's actually okay. Someone hasn't been looking at their tarot cards.
In the photo was a mess. It looked as if it had been in a terrible accident. The windshield was shattered.
Like a car crash.
Metal was twisted and bent. The door on the driver's side was caved in.
This is truly scary.
The car appeared totaled. This is impossible, Greg uttered aloud. Greg, where are you? His mother called. We're all hungry and you're keeping us waiting.
Wow.
I made your pop's favorite and it's getting cold on the table. Sorry.
The shepherd's pot pie is going to get cold in like 45 minutes.
He answered, unable to take his eyes off the snapshot. Coming. He shoved the photo into his top dresser drawer.
His insurance will be so increased. It's not even funny.
Greg didn't even think about that when he stole the camera.
No. That all of this would happen and now he broke the car.
The image of the total car burned in his mind. Just to make sure, he crossed the living room and peeked out of the front window to the driveway. There stood the station wagon, sparkling in the glow of the setting sun, shiny and perfect.
I was pretty nervous.
He turned and walked into the dining room where his brother and his parents were already seated.
True.
He was, oh man.
That's true. He's only 5 years old.
Very interesting. And an interesting commentary on suburban America.
Mm-hmm.
His brother and his parents were already seated. The new wagon is awesome, Dad, Greg said, trying to shake the snapshot's image from his thoughts.
Meet my dad.
But he kept seeing the twisted metal, the caved-in driver's door, the shattered windshield.
That is scary. That's scary.
After dinner, Greg's dad announced happily, I'm taking you off for a drive in the new car.
Wow. Where did they go?
I can't wait. I can't wait to
I can't wait. Okay, so everyone, if you had a car, where would you drive with it?
Greg's dad should do ASMR. I think he's...
I agree. Yeah.
I think that is his job, actually. It doesn't exactly say, but he does clearly make a lot of money to afford this Tower station wagon. McDonald's.
Wow. So most of the votes are half for McDonald's and half are forward. That's good. That's what I see when I look at a smiley face. This is great chicken, Mom. Mom, Greg's brother Terry said, chewing it as he talked. Thanks for the compliment, Mrs. Banks said dryly, but it's veal, not chicken. Greg and his dad burst out laughing. Terry's face grew bright red. Well, he said, still chewing, it's such excellent veal, it tastes as good as chicken. I don't know why I bother to cook, Mrs. Banks sighed. Mr. Banks changed the subject. How are things at the dairy freeze? He asked.
Oh, back to the dairy freeze. Yes, so Greg's older brother Terry does work at the dairy freeze, and he doesn't allow his little brother to get free ice cream, which Greg is upset about, but actually see in the society that Terry lives in, which you could also call the real world, there's not really going to be a lot of handouts, so I think Terry teaches his brother a lot of valuable lessons. No dilly bar for you, Greg.
Yeah.
Agreed.
What, you want a free ice cream? We ran out of vanilla this afternoon, Terry said, forking a small potato and shoving it whole into his mouth. He chewed it briefly, then gulped it down. People were annoyed about that. I don't think I can go for the ride, Greg said, staring down at his diner, which he'd hardly touched. I mean, why not? His father asked.
Unlike McDonald's, I bet the ice cream queen is always working at the dairy freeze.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And it's actually an interesting thing that you bring up, surprise guy, and I actually think the dairy freeze, from the research I was looking into, is hand churned. So the machine never breaks unless your arm's broken, but it's kind of a thing in the Mr. Stein's world.
Well, Greg searched his mind for a good reason. Did I skip something? Sorry. Why not? I don't think I can go for the ride. The ride in the car? Oh, because he's scared. He needed to make a reason up, but his mind was a blank. He couldn't tell them the truth, that he had taken a snapshot of Michael and it showed Michael falling. Then a few seconds later, Michael had fallen. Good old elbow geese. And now he had taken a picture of the new car and the car was wrecked in the photo. if you recall. Greg didn't really know what it meant, but he was suddenly filled with this powerful feeling of dread, of fear, of he didn't know what. That sounds like lazy writing.
So, another viewer participation question. If previously you would have allowed yourself to feel gaslit by your friends into thinking that the image was not taken at the time you knew it was, how would you be feeling right now if you received this premonition almost?
If someone took a picture of you and you looked bad in the picture, would you ask them to take it again? Or would you just kind of like uncomfortably leave the restaurant?
I would be in a straitjacket.
Nice.
I also look like
Oh, okay. So it's just like a mirror you're looking at, a cardboard mirror.
That's beautiful.
A kind of troubled feeling he'd never had before, but he couldn't tell them any of that. It was too weird, too crazy. I made plans to go over to Michael's, he lied, staring down at his plate.
Here's another question. I know it's a little soon after the first, but if you knew your parents were about to perhaps get into a life-threatening car accident, would you choose to warn them or would you choose to get yourself out of harm's way first?
That's a good question. Well, I'm kind of not
I'd
feeling.
warn them. Thank you.
Thank
Pro
you.
Ash.
Okay.
Tell
Don't
them
want to play.
I would let them
That's
play
true.
after-
Don't play God. You're right.
That's true. Like perhaps you meddling in to stop the car accident is what caused the car accident. So I
Right.
see Greg has actually watched a lot of movies. There is
I'm
a
not
link.
gonna watch that.
I actually have gotten the fishing prevention training.
Yeah,
we had to
yeah.
get it before we got certified.
We have a virus detector, and
um,
it says that link is just a phony link, and it doesn't
it's-
lead you to a website.
I'm not going to. I'm just not.
No.
I'm not going to do that.
No.
So yeah, maybe after the show. You've got to know what. That's funny.
Well, call him and tell him you'll see him tomorrow, Mr. Banks said, slicing his veal. Ugh, that's no problem. Well, I'm kind of not. It is. It's a beautiful song. Well, I'm kind of not feeling very well either, Greg said. What's wrong? Mrs. Bank asked with instant concern. Do you have a temperature? I thought you looked a little flush when you came in. No, Greg replied uncomfortably. No temperature. I just feel kind of tired, not very hungry. Can I have your chicken? I mean veal? Terry asked eagerly. He reached his fork across the table. Forks, that's a Twilight reference. And nabbed the cutlet off Greg's plate. Well, a nice ride might make you feel better, Greg's dad said, eyeing Greg suspiciously. You know, some fresh air. You can stretch out in the back if you want. But Dad, Greg stopped. He had used up all the excuses he could think of. They would never believe him if he had needed to stay home and do homework on a Saturday night.
Really?
True.
What is that birthday? Is that September?
Bella Swan and I have the same birthday. For security reasons, if you could type it in just as asterisks.
September 13th. Wow, that's
Ooh,
at least
we told you not
a little
to do
better.
that. Okay. At least
Check
you don't
me a
have the
new
year.
moon.
Oh, okay. We will. Virgo King. We love a Virgo King. You're coming with us, and that's final, Mr. Banks said, still studying Greg closely. You've been dying for this new wagon to arrive. I really don't understand your problem. Neither do I. Greg admitted to himself. I don't understand it at all. Why am I so afraid of riding in the new car? Just because there's something wrong with that stupid camera? I'm being silly, Greg thought, trying to shake away the feeling of dread that had taken away his appetite. Okay, Dad, great, he said, forcing a smile. I'll come. Are there any more potatoes? Terry asked. It doesn't give any sort of
Like what kind
like
of
what
potatoes?
kind of smile.
No.
Or, no, it doesn't
Oh.
tell the potatoes.
Chapter 10.
So this is a reader interaction poll. Just do the readers need anything? Do I want anything right now? Ponder that.
Chapter 10. It's so easy to drive, Mr. Banks said, accelerating on the entry ramp to the freeway. It handles like a small car.
Yes, actually, we have a lot of root beer.
Can I get a root beer float? Oh, yes. Do we have cheese this time?
The cheese got hard,
We
and Desiree told me
actually
to throw
have
it away.
the picnic burger
That's right, we've got the burger.
from the
Viewers at home.
old cover.
Viewers at home, have you tried the burger? Hard cheese.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna try the
If
burger?
you're hungry at home, you can stop watching the stream to eat if you would like. Ooh, burger.
It handles like a small car, not like a station wagon. Plenty of room back here, Dad, Terry said, scooting low in the back seat beside Greg. Raising his knees to the back of the front seat. Okay. Plenty of room back here, Dad, Terry said, scooting low in the back seat beside Greg, raising his knees to the back of the front seat. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, like this.
I'm visualizing. What are the toppings? Whatever you want it to be.
Raw onions and lettuce. We
Hey,
love
look!
them.
There's a drink holder that pulls out from the dash,
Anytime.
Greg's mother exclaimed. That's neat! Awesome, Mom, Terry said sarcastically.
That's how I talk to my mom. She's like, happy birthday. And I'm like, cool, why are you talking to me?
Well, we never had a drink holder before, Mrs. Banks replied. She turned back to the two boys. Okay, so this interaction was a lot more like, it's so easy to drive. It handles like a small car, not like a station wagon. Plenty of room back here, Dad. Hey, look, there's a drink holder that comes out from the dash. Awesome, Mom! Well, we never had a drink holder before.
Wow.
Oh, your seats buckled? Do they work properly? Yeah, they're okay, Terry replied. They checked them at the showroom before I took the car, Mr. Banks said, signaling to move into the left lane.
Wow, a drink holder. I wish I had a car.
So I see you are relating to Terry.
Terry
Oh,
is
Ash,
very
that's fine.
vocally taxing. Like, you don't like... He's always talking about... He's always hungry. He's like, oh, can I eat some of that deer?
A truck roared by, spitting a cloud of exhaust behind it.
Very
Greg
guttural.
stared out the front window. His door window was still covered by the new car sticker. This is an interesting that's now been brought up twice. Is anyone... I've never bought an... Has anyone... Does anyone know what the new car sticker looks like?
It's like a,
Or what they're talking
it's
about?
like a red and white sticker.
Oh, the for sale sign.
Yeah.
It's like a sticker. The setting sun was a red ball low on the horizon in a charcoal gray sky.
Holy shit. What was Mr. Stein smoking when he wrote that? Because that is...
Put the pedal to the metal, Dad, Terry
Wow.
urged, sitting up and leaning forward.
This is like Fear and Loathing in Las
Let's
Vegas.
see what this car can do. Mr. Banks obediently pressed his foot on the accelerator.
Yes, King.
The cruising speed seems to be about 60, he said. Slow down, Mrs. Banks.
This scene is really cool.
You know the speed limit is 55. Okay, so Mrs. Banks knows a bit of a... Well, I won't say
A
it.
little square.
Yes. I'm just testing it, Greg's dad said defensively. You know, making sure the transmission doesn't slip or anything.
Oh, he's what? He's a patriot?
Greg stared at the glowing speedometer. They were doing 70 now.
That's really
Slow
fast.
down, I mean it, Mrs. Banks insisted. You're acting like a crazy teenager. That's me, Mr. Banks replied, laughing. This is awesome, he said. Ha 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 ha, imitating Terry, ignoring his wife's pleas to slow down.
Really fast for a roundabout. Yeah, Mrs. Banks is a loser.
Yes. I suppose I relate to her a bit.
Oh, yeah.
They roared past a couple of small cars in the right lane. Headlights of cars moving toward them were a bright white blur of the darkening evening. Hey, Greg, you've been awfully quiet, his mother said. You feeling okay?
Room for one more egg, Greg.
Yeah.
He's high on endorphins.
I'm okay, Greg said softly.
Greg cannot hang.
He wished his dad would slow down. He was doing 75 now. What do you think, Greg? Mr. Banks asked, steering with his left hand as his right hand searched the dashboard.
Would you want more of this?
Where's the light switch? I should turn on my headlights. The car is great, Greg replied. It's green. Oh, surprise
He's
guy.
going
Now that's
so
funny.
fast. He's going way too
as
fast.
hell. He's going really fast, and especially with his 2 young sons.
Mm-hmm. This guy should not own a car, let alone an evil camera.
And it's easy to see why you might judge Greg for stealing a camera, but then you take a look at the family that he comes from, a family like this who won't respond to his pleas to slow down, and you see that hurt little boy, and he steals the camera because he needs some attention to his cries for help, literally. The car's great, Greg replied, trying to sound enthusiastic, but he couldn't shake away the fear.
Me trying to talk to other men.
Couldn't get the photo of the mangled car out of his mind. Where's that stupid light switch? It's gotta be here somewhere, Mr. Banks said, as he glanced down at the unfamiliar dashboard. The station wagon swerved to the left.
Viewers, what kind of car do you have at home?
Look out for that truck! Greg screamed.
Is it a Ford? Oh.
Well, in this car, actually, the station wagon, I don't know if you knew this, dummy rat, but the station wagon is actually 12 feet long, and 8 feet of it are the dashboard. And so if you reach over it, a lot of buttons to press. So it's not like what we're familiar with our newfangled technology and the little, like, click.
Mr. Stein has never been in a car, yeah. He rides like a haunted bumper car everywhere to all of his meetings, like Scholastic or whatever. Chapter 11. Horns blared. A powerful blast of air swept over the station wagon like a giant ocean wave, pushing it to the side. Mr. Banks swerved the station wagon to the right. The truck rumbled past. Oh, sorry, Greg's dad said, eyes straight ahead, slowing the car to 60, 55, 69. I told you to slow down. Did I? Okay. You boys okay, Mr. Oh, they parked at some point. We could have been killed. I was trying to find the lights, he explained. Turn on the bright lights by Mr. Banks. Oh, here they are on the steering wheel. He clicked on the headlights. You boys okay? Mrs. Banks asked, turning to check them out. Yeah, fine, Terry said, sounding a little shaken. I could go for a McFlurry now. He didn't say that. The truck would have hit his side of the car. I'm okay, Greg said. Can we go back now? Don't you want to keep going? Mr. Banks asked, unable to hide his disappointment. What a jerk. Listen to your kids.
I'm sorry, is the car not totaled?
No, the car is fine. I guess it would have looked like... Oh, viewers, if you remember what happened, that car is fucked. He pulled his camera out of its hiding place.
Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. Thank you for...
Not yet.
I see you had your listening ears on, and I did not, so...
Yeah, fine. I'm okay. Greg said, can we go back now? Greg's right. Mrs. Banks said softly to her husband, enough for tonight, dear. Let's turn around. Oh, the truck didn't come that close, Mr. Banks argued. Men would literally rather get in a car crash than go to therapy. But he obediently turned off the highway and they headed for home. Later, safe and sound up in his room, Greg took the photograph out of his dresser and examined it. There was the new station wagon. The driver's side caved in, the windshield shattered. Weird, he said aloud, and placed the photo in the secret compartment in his headboard where he had stashed the camera. Definitely weird. He pulled the camera out of its hiding place and turned it around in his hands. I'll try it one more time, he decided. He walked to his dresser and aimed at the mirror.
Actually, this is a great moment, I think, for viewer participation. If you had previously allowed yourself to be gaslit into thinking you hadn't noticed that the picture was changing, and then you, secondly, are now really, really doubting yourself to the point that some would use an analogy of being in a straitjacket, which is a bit an outdated term. And anyways, so if you were like that, what would you be doing now? Would you be taking a third picture, or would you be destroying the camera?
Would you destroy the camera, or would you destroy the picture? Time for a selfie. I agree.
An interesting surprise guy. Actually, oh, Well, I see we had someone who's reading a little ahead of the class.
Well, do I look cute? I was not reading another one.
Surprise guy was reading ahead of the class.
Well, do I look cute that day or not? Because if I do, probably a selfie. Yes, I agree, dummy rat. It all just depends on how you feel that day. Secret compartment headboard. I'll take a picture of myself in the mirror, he thought. He raised the camera, then changed his mind. That won't work, he realized. The flash will reflect black and spoil the photo. Gripping the camera in one hand, he made his way across the hall to Terry's room. His brother was at his desk typing away on his computer keyboard. The next great American novel, am I right? His face bathed in the blue light of the monitor screen. Terry, can I take your picture? Craig asked meekly, holding up the camera. Terry typed some more, then looked up from the screen. Hey, where'd you get that camera? Sherry loaned it to me, Greg told him, thinking quickly.
Dummy rat, it's an interesting point you bring up that was crossing my mind as well, and I think it brings up a really interesting commentary on the effects of
That's very funny.
Socialism and capitalism, because
Yes.
in a capitalistic world, this is kind of what we run into of you don't allow your brother to eat at the dairy freeze for free because you believe everyone should be working hard to work their way up, and then because of that your brother turns into like a school shooter kind of,
He
and
turns
it's just
into a
interesting
gamer
how without that attention he turns to thievery and then to
and doing
murder
some
or
other shit and taking pictures of
massacre.
cars, which is not cool. And
Crime.
crime.
He turns to crime.
He turns into crime.
We also didn't talk about the fact that McFlurries are canon in the world.
What a beautiful world, the RL verse. So can I take your picture, Greg asked. I'll probably break your camera, Terry joked. I think it's already broken, Greg told him. That's why I want to test it on you. Go ahead, Terry said. He stuck out his tongue and crossed his eyes. Can you cross your eyes at home? Look away if you don't like eye crossing, but I can do it. Can you do it? If it comes out, Greg said, and hurried across the...
I wonder if there are any McFlurries at Horrorland. That's a really interesting question that you bring up. And I think if you recall, they actually drank Monster Juice at Horrorland.
Right, they drank Monster Energy Juice at Horrorland. That was my favorite Goosing story. Yes. A little teaser. Greg's...
Let's read that next time to make it interesting. So 2 votes for Horrorland. Interesting.
Okay, I like Horrorland. So I got a stun card. An undeveloped photo slid out of the slot in front. Thanks. See ya. Greg headed to the door. Hey, don't I get to see it? Terry called after him.
Can we get a Monster Juice McFlurry? Now that is interesting.
That sounds good.
That's invoking to me maybe some Andes candies, some mint sauce, and maybe some raspberries, because that indicates to me the juice.
Yeah. I would try a Monster Juice McFlurry machine.
That's funny.
You get an R.L. Stein toy. He sat down on the edge of the bed, holding the photo in his lap. He stared at it intently as it developed. The yellows filled in first. Then the reds appeared, followed by shades of blue. Whoa, Greg muttered as his brother's face came to view. There's something definitely wrong here. I bet he's doing a funny smile.
Goofy smile.
In the photo, Terry's eyes weren't crossed, and his tongue wasn't sticking out. His expression was grim, frightened. He looked very upset. As the background came into focus, Greg had another surprise. Reference to Surprise Guy. Terry wasn't in his room. He was outdoors. There were trees in the background and a house. Greg stared at the house. It looked so familiar. This is kind of Lynchian.
It's becoming canon.
Was that the house across the street from the playground? I am Greg. He took one more look at Terry's frightened expression. Then he took the photo and the camera into his secret headboard compartment and carefully closed it. Why is that such a big part of the story?
I
guess
as a child, I read this novel and I really enjoyed the thought of a secret headboard compartment, and I did begin to go under my bed and carve the middle of my headboard, but it was very thin.
Greg rode
Dummy
his
rat, that's
magic
a little,
hover bike.
Hint, maybe you never knew that, so...
Yeah, you could make one at home, possibly. All you need is a knife and a bed. Greg crossed. Damn it. The camera must. The camera must be broken, he decided, getting changed for bed. It was the best explanation he could come up with. Lying in bed, staring up at the shifting shadows on the ceiling, he decided not to think about it anymore. A broken camera wasn't worth worrying about. See, it's you always gotta buy new stuff.
Oh, Pro Ash, are we sleeping on a mattress on the basement?
What did I want to hide in there? A bottle of wine.
A camera.
A camera.
My digital camera.
What would you hide in there, viewers? Tuesday afternoon, after school, Greg hurried to meet Sherry at the playground to watch Bird's Little League game. That's normally for humans, but okay. It was a warm fall afternoon, the sun high in a cloudless sky. The outfield grass had been freshly mowed and filled the air with its sharp, sweet smell. Greg crossed the grass and squinted into the bright sunlight, searching for Sherry. Both teams were warming up on the sides of the diamond, yelling and laughing, that the sound of balls popping into gloves, competing with their loud voices.
Hey, throw it here, over here, no,
Hey, over here.
left heel,
Hey,
left heel,
who wants
left heel,
who wants a
left
hot
heel,
dog?
I'm catching it.
Hey,
He's safe.
shut the fuck up. He held it up. I wasn't saying that to you. That's like my impression. Excellent, she exclaimed, grinning. She reached for it. I think it's broken, Greg said, holding on to the camera. These photos just don't come out right. It's hard to explain. Maybe it's not the photos. Maybe it's the photographer, Sherry teased. That's rude. Maybe I'll take a photo of you getting a knuckle sandwich, Greg threatened. Viewers, if you were Greg, would you punch your friend Sherry? But no mattress. Excellent, she exclaimed, grinning. Oh, I already read that part. He raised the camera to his eye and pointed at her. Snap that and I'll take a picture of you eating the camera, Sherry threatened playfully. She reached up quickly and pulled the camera from his hand. What do you want it for anyway, Greg asked, making a half-hearted attempt to grab it back. Sherry held it away from his outstretched hand. I want to take Bird's picture when he comes up to bat. He looks just like an ostrich at the plate. I heard that.
Sherry.
Bird appeared.
Yes, sorry, surprise guy. We are noticing an interaction between our protagonist Greg and his
TY, short for Terry. Good point.
But not Terry, his friend Sherry.
He looked ridiculous in his starched white uniform. The shirt was too big and the pants were too short. The cap was the only thing that fit. Should we do a fit check? This is kind of one of our series staples. Okay, so fit check for Bird. He looked ridiculous in his starched white uniform.
Starched white. No stripes, just white.
No stripes, just white. The shirt was too big.
Too big.
And the pants were too short.
So actually,
he's just like... Go ahead.
If he was around today in 2023, he would actually be really
TikTok
big on
famous.
TikTok.
Why doesn't he have clothes that fit?
So sometimes when people's parents don't have enough money, they are actually
truly tragic.
Their children do have to use from the community.
Yes.
Sack, you
know. And the cap was the only thing that fit. It was blue with a silver dolphin over the bill and the words Pitt's Landing Dolphins. They don't have enough money. That's a great question, and R.L. Stein hopefully will address that in a future book. All the other caps were taken, Bird answered. We had a choice between the Zephyrs and the Dolphins.
Blue car.
Blue cap, blue car.
Theme.
Real color theme going on here. None of us knew what Zephyrs were, so we picked Dolphins. That's interesting. Sherry eyed him up and down. Maybe you guys should play in your street clothes. Thanks for the encouragement, Bird replied.
Greg.
Green Greg. He spotted the camera. Does it have film? You brought the camera. Does it have film? Yeah, I think so, Greg told him. Let me see. He reached out for the camera, but Bird swung it out of his grasp. This has been one chapter. Hey, are you going to share this thing? Greg?
A great question you bring up, Pro Ash. His name is Bird, like the bird.
B-I-R-D.
And his real name is...
Bird.
Actually Douglas.
It's Douglas. I thought his name was Bird. No. Oh, honey, no. Oh, honey, no, that's not what his name was. I'm so sorry.
Leonard Skinbird.
That's funny. Huh? What do you mean? Ah. Let me see. Hey, are you gonna share this thing? What do you mean, Greg reached? I mean, we all risked our lives down in that basement getting it, right? Bird said. We should all share it. Well, Greg hadn't thought about it. I guess you're right, Bird, but I'm the one who found it, so Sherry grabbed the camera out of Bird's hand. I told Greg to bring it so we could take your picture when you're up. As an example of good form, Bird asked. As a bad example, Sherry said. You guys are just jealous, Bird replied, frowning. Because I'm a natural.
Sherry is kind of annoying in this chapter. It is interesting, and I think it brings up a really healthy dialogue that Mr. Stein has neglected to comment on a few times now.
Why is Sherry so mad? Why?
And we've sent several letters, and he just...
We sent the letter G for Goosebumps.
He sends them back.
Hey, Bird, get back here. One of the coaches called from the playing field. I've got to go, Bird said, giving them a quick wave and starting to trot back to his teammates.
Is she depicting female rage? It's interesting, and I will have to look into if Mia Goth had her little tendrils on this project.
No way, let me take a fast picture now, Greg said. He's fast. Bird stopped, turned around, and struck a pose. No, I'll take it, Sherry insisted. She started to raise the camera to her eye, pointing it towards Bird, and as she raised it, Greg grabbed for it. Let me take it! And the camera went off, clicked, and then flashed. An undeveloped photo slid out. Hey, why'd you do that? Sherry asked angrily. Sorry, Greg said. I didn't mean to. She pulled the photo out and held it in her hand. I'm sorry. Greg and Bird came out to watch it develop. What the heck is that? Bird cried, staring hard at the small square as the colors brightened and took shape. Oh, wow, Greg cried. The photo showed Bird sprawled unconscious on his back on the ground, his mouth twisted open, his neck bent at a frightening angle, and his eyes shut tight. That is scary. That's our last chapter, I think.
I would agree. We will now be entering our final chapter for the evening. Did anyone read that one R.L. Stein book where the cheerleader's arm snapped backwards? Yes, his Fear Street series, very, very terrifying.
Yes, Curse of the.
There was the cheerleader who was scalded to death in the hot shower in one of those books as well, and that one stuck with me.
In R.L. Stein's Carrie.
Spoiler alert, yes, okay. Indeed, a bit of a spoiler alert for those who haven't read the novel, yes, but I would be interested in how Rugrats had the series all grown up and you see your favorite characters, beloved characters.
But maybe a version where Sherry is an adult, like of Goosebumps books. So you get to see Michael, Greg, Sherry, and Bird, and Mr. and Mrs. Banks as adults.
And you would see them having to go through therapy and all the trauma of seeing their best friend in these photographs. I just think that would be a delightful little commentary that might brighten our mindsets today. Like it, chapter 2. Like it. I agree. Was it an R.L. Stein book where he came to school and like all the color? Oh, yes, that is.
That sounds really familiar.
Is it Perfect School? What is it called? Chapter 12 and our final chapter for the evening. Hey, what's with this stupid camera? Bird asked, grabbing the snapshot out of Sherry's hand. He tilted it from side to side, squinting at it. It's out of focus or something.
Side to side, a reference to the Ariana Grande song.
Weird, Greg said, shaking his head. Hey, Bird, get over here! The Dolphins coach called. So Bird, during his Little League game, ran over to take a picture. I also liked Why I'm Afraid of the Bees.
Yeah, Why Am I Afraid of the Bees? That was a great book.
So you like that which scares you. That's interesting. Surprise, guy. That's actually fucked up. That's very brave. Is his ankle healed? So if you will recall, it was the other friend that we don't see very frequently. Hold on here. Michael.
Howard, Michael.
Greg, Michael, Bird, and Sherry. So Michael has a broken ankle, and Bird is on the Little League team. Coming! Bird handed the picture back to Sherry and jogged over to his teammates. Whistles blew. The two teams stopped their practicing and trotted to the benches along the third baseline.
I thought Bird was Michael.
How did
No,
this
it's like a different kid.
happen? Sherry asked Greg, shielding her eyes from the sun with one hand, holding the photo close to her face with the other. It really looks like Bird is lying on the ground, knocked out or something. But he was standing right in front of us. I don't get it. I really don't, Greg replied thoughtfully. The camera keeps doing that. Carrying the camera at his side,
Greg is probably so fucked up right now.
swinging it by its slender strap, he followed her
Slender
to
Man.
a shady spot beside the bleachers. Look how his neck is bent, Sherry continued. It's so awful. See, that's where I wonder where Sherry would go if she had to see this picture at the young age of about 10 years old, and what that would do to a child's mind. And we wonder why our parents suffered so much as the way they did.
Right.
There's something definitely wrong with the camera, Greg said. He started to tell her about the snapshot he took of the new station wagon and the snapshot of his brother,
Yes,
Terry.
Slender Man.
Straight to crime. Very true. He started to tell her, but she interrupted him before he could get the words out. And that picture of Michael, it showed him falling down the stairs before he even fell. It's just so strange. I know, Greg agreed. Let me see that thing, Sherry said, and pulled the camera from his hand. Is there any film left? I can't tell, Greg admitted. I couldn't find a film counter or anything. Sherry examined the camera closely, rolling it over in her hands. It doesn't say anywhere. How can you tell if it's loaded or not? Greg shrugged. The baseball game got underway. Oh, interesting point. I would say, and I think we might have to fact check on what time Memento came out and what time that this came out, because they are, frankly,
they're eerily similar. Eerily is a word you would see in a Goosebumps book. 2000.
Ah, which one? Or are they both? Let me see that thing, Sherry said. Greg shrugged. The baseball game got underway. The Dolphins were the visiting team. The other team, the Cardinals, jogged out to take their positions on the field. A kid in the bleachers dropped his soda can. It hit the ground and spilled, and the kid started to cry. An old station wagon filled with teenagers cruised by, its radio blaring, its horn honking. Where do you put the film in? Sherry asked impatiently.
Amateur.
Greg stepped closer to help her examine it. Here, I think, he said, pointing. Doesn't the back come off? Sherry fiddled with it. No, I don't think so. Most of these automatic developing cameras load in the front.
That's true. I would know that too. I
went
went to an art school as well.
She pulled at the back, but the camera wouldn't open. She tried pulling off the bottom. No better luck. Turning the camera, she tried pulling off the lens. It wouldn't budge. Greg took the camera from her. There's no slot or opening in the front. Well, what kind of camera is it anyway? Sherry demanded. Let's see. Greg studied the front, examining the top of the lens, then turned the camera over and studied the back.
I would just buy a new camera.
He stared up at her with a surprising look on his face. It's a Nokia 2007. How can a camera not have a name? Sherry shouted in exasperation. She snatched the camera away from him and examined it closely, squinting against the bright afternoon sunshine. Finally, she handed the camera back to him, defeated. You're right, Greg. No name. No words of any kind. Nothing.
The camera's indestructible. It has over 2,000 confirmed kills.
What a stupid camera.
Yeah, and it's a Nokia.
She added angrily. Nokia. Hold on, Greg told her. It's not my camera, remember? I didn't buy it. I took it from the Kaufman house.
I didn't vote for him.
Well, let's at least figure out how to open it up and look inside, Sherry said. The first dolphin batter popped up to the second baseman.
It's like dough batter, like
So
what
it
you
hit
use
it
for
to the
cooking.
second base. I just stole it like a real baddie. Very true, he is bragging about his life of crime, trying to convert. Again, we see the effects of peer pressure. The second batter struck out on 3 straight swings. The dozen or so spectators shouted encouragement to their team. Come on, guys, you're gonna do it! Let's go, Dolphins! Let's go!
Hey!
Get it to the second base!
Where's my son?
Ref, open your eyes, ref!
Hey, where's my car?
The little kid who had dropped his soda continued to cry. 3 kids rode by on bikes, waving to friends on the teams, but not stopping to watch. I've tried and tried, but I can't figure out how to open it, Greg admitted. Give it to me, Sherry said, and grabbed the camera away from him. There has to be a button or something.
Go Dolphins.
Go Dolphins.
Do we have any Dolphins fans here? Wow.
This is ridiculous. When she couldn't find a button or lever of any kind, she tried pulling the back off once again, prying at it with her fingernails. Then she tried turning the lens, but it wouldn't turn. I'm not going to stop trying, she said, gritting her teeth. This camera has to open. It has to. Give up. You're going to wreck it, Greg warned, reaching for it.
I thought that was a grandma.
Wreck it? How could I wreck it? Sherry demanded.
Wreck-It Ralph, too.
It has no moving parts. Nothing.
Ralph buys a computer.
This is impossible, Greg said. Making a disgusted face, she handed the camera to him. Okay, I give up. Check it out yourself, Greg. He took the camera, started to raise it to his face, then stopped. Uttering a low cry of surprise, his mouth dropped open and his eyes gaped straight ahead. Surprise. Startled, Sherry turned to follow his shocked gaze. Oh no.
What? What is it?
There, on the ground, a few yards outside the first baseline,
Jesus.
lay Bird. He was sprawled on his back,
Oh.
his neck bent at an odd and unnatural angle,
I did not need this.
his eyes shut tight.
Wow.
Well, thank you all for joining us this evening.
Yes, thank you all for joining us this evening. It has been a
treasure
and pleasure as well.
Yes.
Odd and unnatural this evening has been.
It has been indeed. Join us next week at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday. And please let us know in the chats or in the comments if there is a time or a day you'd rather see us on. We are a small scale operation and we are
like Sunday at 3 a.m.
excited to meet our viewers' needs.
Or Monday at 3 a.m.
Please feel free to leave in the comments.
That's such a bad joke. Sorry. Go ahead. That I'm in.
The next book you'd like us to see. I see we have some Horrorland lovers out there.
Horrorland is good. Oh boy, it's 3 a.m. Okay, Tuesday, 2 p.m. We can make that work. Good night and good goose.